Welcome to this dynamic explainer. Today, we're not just, memorizing some dry list of words. Oh no. We are going to transform an educational vocabulary list into a totally memorable journey. We'll start all the way back at basic biological survival in the natural world and trace our steps right up to complex human action and social communication. By anchoring these concepts deep in your memory, we're making them accessible exactly when you need them. Okay, let's dive into this. First, we'll explore the natural world. Second, navigate competition and rivals. And third, communication and creating change.
Section 1. Exploring the natural world. Biological basics and maintenance. So, all of existence, and actually our very first set of vocabulary terms, starts right here with tangible biology and the physical world. Let's look at how living beings survive, sustain, and maintain themselves at the most fundamental level. Our first foundational concept of survival is the word omnivore. By definition, an omnivore is a living being that eats plants and animals. Think about human beings, bears, or even birds like crows, right? We aren't locked into strictly grazing on grass or exclusively hunting for meat. No, our biological engine is literally built to run on both types of fuel. And this incredible flexibility, it's a massive survival advantage when you're navigating the utter unpredictability of the natural world.
And this brilliantly illustrates the duality of the omnivore, eating plants on one side, eating animals on the other. Unlike a strict herbivore, whose digestive system only handles plants, or a pure carnivore that relies entirely on meat, the omnivore bridges this gap effortlessly. Understanding these two diets side by side really helps us see that an omnivore is the ultimate biological multitasker, just adapting to whatever food sources happen to be available in its immediate environment.
Now let's shift gears a bit and move the narrative from sustenance to physical maintenance. Our next vital vocabulary term is groom. To groom is to brush and clean fur. You know, in the wild, once an animal has successfully eaten, its absolute next priority is health and hygiene. Think of monkeys meticulously picking through each other's coats, or a cat carefully washing its paws. Grooming isn't simply about aesthetics or, looking good. It is an absolutely critical survival behavior in the animal kingdom, used to remove harmful parasites and build vital social bonds within a community. Moving on to Section 2, Navigating Competition and Rivals. Entering the social world. Now, once those basic foundational survival needs, like eating and grooming, are fully met, social dynamics inevitably take over. When multiple animals, or humans for that matter, exist in the exact same space, well, competition naturally arises. And that introduces our next crucial term, rival. A rival is a person or group that competes with others. We've officially moved away from peaceful cooperation and straight into conflict and ambition. Whether it's two apex predators fighting for territory in the forest, two massive global businesses fighting for market share, or two athletes going for a gold medal, a rival is that opposing external force actively pushing back against your goals. So the crucial point is, it breaks down into three distinct pillars: a person, a group, competition. By stripping the definition down to these core elements, it becomes so much easier to anchor in your mind, right? A rivalry isn't just some abstract idea floating out in the ether. It requires active participants. It can be an individual clashing with an individual, or a massive collective against another collective. But the absolute glue that binds them together as rivals is that third critical concept, competition. They both desperately desire the exact same prize. Which brings us to Section 3, Communication and Creating Change, the power of phrasal verbs. So how do we actually handle these complex social situations and rivalries? Well, unlike animals that rely mostly on physical posturing to deal with their rivals, we humans use advanced linguistic tools. We use highly targeted language to navigate our conflicts and fundamentally shape the environments we live in. We can intentionally group three key action phrases together here: point out, spell out, and bring about. Now, phrasal verbs combine a traditional verb with a preposition or an adverb, and in the English language, let me tell you, they are the absolute powerhouses of communication. They don't just passively describe the world, they actively seek to engage with it and change it. Let's see how this builds. Our first phrasal verb of action is point out. This means to tell someone something you think they don't know, or to draw someone's attention to something. Think about how incredibly essential this tool is, especially when dealing with those rivals we just talked about. If a competitor makes a mistake or if there's a glaring flaw in their argument, you need to point it out.
It is literally the linguistic equivalent of shining a bright, undeniable spotlight on a specific, crucial detail so that absolutely no one in the room can ignore it. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the subtle nuance here. First, telling someone something they don't know, sharing brand new information. Here, you're acting as the teacher or the insider, delivering fresh facts. Second, drawing someone's attention to something that might already be sitting right in front of them, but they just aren't seeing it. In both cases, by pointing it out, you are taking absolute control of the conversation's focus.
Moving right along to our next term, and I want you to pay close attention to the sheer authority of this phrase, spell out. To spell out means to explain something very clearly. Because sometimes simply pointing something out just isn't enough to get the job done. You literally have to spell it out. Imagine speaking with such sharp precision and absolute clarity that there is zero room for misunderstanding or debate from your rivals. You are laying out the unvarnished facts step by step. Just like physically spelling a word letter by letter, spelling out an idea means breaking a massive, complex concept down into its most undeniable fundamental pieces. And that leads us perfectly to our final, culminating vocabulary phrase for today, bring about. This simply means to cause something to happen. And if you really think about it, this is the ultimate final goal of all that action and communication. By gathering resources flexibly as an omnivore, by grooming to build strong alliances, by outmaneuvering our social rivals, by confidently pointing out the facts, and by clearly spelling out our brilliant ideas, we finally gain the ultimate power to bring about tangible change in the real world. We elevate ourselves from merely surviving in our environment to becoming the actual catalyst for action.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick question to ponder. What ideas will you spell out today to bring about a better tomorrow? We've traveled all the way from basic biological survival in the natural world to the absolute pinnacle of human communication and social influence. Take these foundational words, make them your own, and actively use them to shape your world. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.